Welcome to Center Heist Productions. Please hit the like and subscribe down in your right hand corner. Muchly appreciated. Thanks to my followers. As like I say, we've been in business here for over 2 years now as we build a community that we keep an integral channel as far as we stick to the facts and try to stay clear of gossip, rumorville as much as possible. All right, and if you could, share it with your friends and family. Hit the like, subscribe, share, and you can share it in chats online as well. If you're coming across the channel, please subscribe and hit the likes. You'd be doing me a huge favor and muchly appreciated. All right, let's get down to it. Review of last night's game. Today is December 18th, 2024, and we had the Sabres in Montreal last night on the 17th. And that's just what the doctor orders for the Habs. All right, so awesome game. Well, not really. Awesome on our behalf. If you're a Habs fan, you loved it. Uh, again, this was a game of two struggling teams in the rebuild process. So nothing to pumped that we won. Yes, very pumped. Um, so you kind of win the battle of the rebuilds with what the two are lower teams in the rebuilds. All right, so we're going to get right down to the stats and we'll talk more. First period, Montreal comes up with 2 goals. Could have been 4 goals. A couple post hit in that first period, one by Laine and one by uh, Anderson. And then in the second period, we had 4 more goals we added, and the Sabres added 1. There was no scoring in the third. Final score 6-1. Montembeault gets the start for the Habs and gets the win. And Luukkonen got the loss and got pulled, and they put Reimer in the third. But again, that game was, it wasn't on him. It was totally the way they played in front of him. All right, so Patrick Laine scores, and the big news: Patrick Laine got a hat trick, and wow, he's been the answer for our power play, no doubt about it. So he gets a hat trick last night. Patrick Laine scored his first hat trick with the Montreal Canadiens, extending the Buffalo Sabres winless streak to 11 games with a 6-1 victory Tuesday night. Juraj Slafkovsky got a goal. Joel Armia got a goal. Josh Anderson also scored, and Montreal, while Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki, and Hudson provided 2 assists each. Sam Montembeault stopped 20 shots. Dylan Cousins scored for struggling Sabres. Ukko Lehkonen made 15 saves of 21 shots. Backup James Reimer stopped all 6 shots that he faced. All right, so we get no doubt about our 3 stars. We know who the first star is. Patrick Laine night, 3 goals, and still managing to be a -1. That's just odd, eh? And then Juraj Slafkovsky, big improvement in his game last night. Goal and assist. +1, but there's still a long ways to go for him. He can still improve more. Josh Anderson, again, playing best, a lot better hockey than he did last year. So he's been a big improvement this year. I like what I see coming out of him. So good game for Josh as well. He gets a goal, +1. Scoring summary starts. Didn't take Montreal long whatsoever. Joel Armia gets one. Beautiful setup uh, by Jake Evans and Emil Heineman, who was exceptional in this game. His board work was just, yeah, you can't say enough about this kid. This kid is works his butt off, and that line is such a good line for a fourth line. It just brings energy. Okay, and then at 6:26, Patrick Laine gets his 4th goal of the season, assisted by Nick Suzuki. Juraj Slafkovsky on the power play. Great passing play to make this happen. Juraj to Suzuki, who puts it across the ice, over to the side, across the crease, I should say, to the other side, well in the wheelhouse of the circle area. Power play goal, and Laine does not miss. And that's his first one after having one rung off the post, as I was saying earlier in the period that I think some people thought that it was a goal, and you could have. But if you looked at the replays, it was off the bar. That first shot, a shame, would have been a 5-on-5 goal for him. Second, but he manages to get it back. Nice to see. Second period, we get 3:43. Montreal kind of comes out in the second period, little slightly lackadaisical, and the foot not totally on the gas immediately. And you can't come out that way. And Dylan Cousins makes them pay, as he's been struggling with it. So he scores, assisted by Paterka and Owen Power. But then good work for at 5:54. Yuri Slavkovsky banks one in off of the goal Lokinen, or whatever you want to call him, assisted by Caulfield and Savard, and it was a good just to bank it off him, and that's exactly what he did. So he's kind of getting those goals, uh, unique goals where it's more work around the net, and that's what you want to see. You want to see him work for his goals and just catching the goalie napping. So good goal for Slav, and hopefully we'll see more. I definitely like seeing that line back together. 9:45, Patrick Laine assisted by Nick Suzuki and Lane Hudson. There's his second, and it's a power play goal once again. And then at 10:55, we get the hat trick. And it's Patrick Laine, assisted by Cole Caulfield, assisted by Lane Hudson on the power play. And then at 19:15, Josh Anderson adds one, assisted by Christian Dvorak and Brendan Gallagher. And that was the end of that second period. Third period, there was no scoring. And that was an awesome game. Well played game by the Habs. Um, Final shots were shots on goal 27-21 for the Habs. Hits, we were out hitting this game, although I sometimes got to question the analytics department. I don't know where they come up with. I've been watching these hits, and I don't know where they come up with their numbers. I haven't been on board with a lot of their write-ups, so I don't know who's writing these analytics. But I think it's a joke sometimes, because it didn't seem that lopsided uh, in the hitting department. But anyway, face-offs 29-27 in favor of the Sabres. Power plays 0 for 5 for the struggling Sabres, 3 for 6 for the Habs. That's getting us back on track. Penalty minutes 12-10 for the Sabres. Giveaways 11-10 for the Sabres. Takeaways 8 apiece. Block shots 23-13 for the Habs. And lots of penalties in this game. Not going to read the penalty column. Yoel Armia actually took a couple penalties in this one, which is not characteristic of him so much. So yeah, yeah, it is what it is. All right, so that's the end of the stat department, and good game played by the Habs. I mean, this was a test of whose rebuild is on better track. And remember, Montreal's rebuild is a couple years behind. It's about 3 or 4 years behind the Sabres. So we're doing quite well in the rebuild department, but my God, we do gotta the one department we have to get some grit on this team. Great game. I didn't understand the Sabres coaching when it came to the penalty kill. Everybody else in the league has caught on to what Montreal is doing on the power play, and have covered Patrick Laine um, all the more, and made it much more harder for him to produce. And the Sabres just didn't respond to that at all. They left him wide open. That there, I have no comprehension of what the Sabres coaches were thinking of not doing what the rest of the league's doing in covering Laine, knowing how effective he's been. But hey, that's on them. They got a lot of big troubles in there, and it's so sad because there's a lot of talent in the Sabres system. They got tons of talent. It just does not seem to be gelling. 14 years. I mean, come on, my goodness, like what is going on with that rebuild? And if I was them, I wouldn't go back to. I mean, it's like they never come out of the rebuild. But however, I think you're at a point now where it's whatever's going on there. And the owner's been trying to be involved. He made that special trip to Montreal and then left just to talk to the team to show that he cared. But I think they're going to have to make some. Whoever their GM is going to have to make some very cautious trades, but he's going to have to. It's like Montreal. I mean, kid yourself not. We need some things, shots in the arms in some trades, just to add different components to our game because we don't have an identity. Well, if you think we don't have an identity, my goodness gracious, the Sabres, I just don't know. That's a sad story. I wouldn't want to be, and the poor fans of that team, 14 years, that's just outrageous. But we get the Wings coming up next, back-to-back games, Friday and Saturday. That's going to be a real testament. Another rebuild team. However, again, another team that's in the area of being ahead of, they started to rebuild, a couple of 2 or 3 years ahead of us. They're in that Buffalo category, maybe just a little bit behind Buffalo, but not much. But their team that the rebuild is going in the right direction. And it's showing. So this is going to be a real test for the Habs. So they better have their game on. For Montreal, good solid game from Monty. Great solid game, team game, and that's what you want. But I mean, remember, it's great to be hyped, and I'm pumped that we won. Remember, we're playing one of the worst teams, and a team that is had 10 losses straight. This is this. So you got to watch how you don't want to over exasperate the victory, because this was a struggling team. You have to keep that in context. It's that's great that we took advantage, and we need to take advantage of those type of games before we're headed to the end of the year coming very soon, and you're going to be over the you're going to be close to the halfway mark, getting closer, and or 30 plus games mark, and that's going to be something else. So it's a good shot, good. I was very impressed with the way the defense played tonight, much better. But again, a team that's not got it together with the Sabres, so that helps our cause. Um, just really impressed with Jack. I just looking more and more like a veteran out there. He's really bought into learning and going along with learning that his position well. Just yeah, big improvements in him. Just good to see. I even liked Barron's game. Again, I've said that a couple times now that I think Barron's game's headed in the right direction now too, as well. He's showing some positive signs. He still has work to do, but he's positive signs. Uh, Gooley had a really exceptional game as far as blocking shots and stuff. I thought he was very good in that department. Um, Savard and Savard was who Savard is, and good leader. Played a half decent game. Um, and then you had Matheson and Hudson. I just do not like that pairing whatsoever. Not in 5-on-5. It's an inappropriate pairing. These are two similar players, and we're fortunate that we had the Sabres last night, but you can't have these two guys together. They're going to cost you goals because they have the same offensive mindset. Love Hudson, but he's going to take the chances, and Matheson is going to try it too. So this is just a pairing that needs to have somebody responsible on each of those lines. Like I honestly think that for the time being, you gotta have somebody different, like maybe I like Gooley personally with Hudson. I really like that pairing. I just thought, and I do think it's the future first pairing. So I would keep those two together. And what do you do with Matheson? That's a tricky one because our right side is just not there. So you'd almost have to put Barron up with Matheson, or maybe you put no, you can't do that unless the only way you can do that is if Matheson plays the right side, is putting him with. I don't think he's the answer though. I think Savard's better with Jack Eye. So Yeah, you're left with Barron. Um, so you would have to go that route for the time being. Um, t- but yeah, that's hard one. That is really a hard one. It's almost like you don't have the proper fit for Mathis, anybody with Matheson, because our right side is so weak. But it is what it is. I just think you got to keep Hudson and him apart. I just don't think it's the answer whatsoever. Sorry, but I think you're looking for odd man rushes against you if you keep that pairing, especially when you play the better teams. And Detroit, this is going to be a real test to see where how well we are with our rebuild, because we know Detroit's rebuild is going quite well. Now you're starting to see the signs of their rebuild starting to show positive signs. Them in Ottawa, they seem to be in the right direction. Where Buffalo, the Buffalo's going to have to make some serious trades. Even so, is Montreal's in that boat. But at least we're not in the boat that Buffalo's in. We're midway in our rebuild, where Buffalo's been in a rebuild for 14 years. That's just ridiculous. But they're going to have to make some trades to improve that squad, and there's going to have to be careful trades because they don't want to stay in that rebuild mode. They're going to have to start adding some veterans they're like us. They're going to need some veterans that can bring some leadership and bring something different to the team. We need it. We need a goaltender badly. Because you can't, like Monty's playing so many games, and in my books, and I'll say it again, yes, he had a good game, but to me, Monty Mbo is a backup, and we need to find that starter for and at least somebody to challenge him. It looks like it could be coming because you can definitely tell they've given up on Primo, and they should have. As far as I'm concerned, Primo should have been let go last year. Now the info is, as I said, put it to bed. Nice kid. Nice kid doesn't make you a good goaltender. Either put him on waivers or trade him. I don't think anybody would trade for him. If someone wants to pick him up on waivers, oh well, so be it. Um, if he ends up passing waivers, then you may be in a position where you have to bring up Hughes or Dobish. Dobish looks like the perfect answer because I can see in the future. I really see this as it being a Fowler Dobish combo. Yeah, that's my prediction right now. I see a 1-2 punch there. The Dobish has improved so much, and maybe they are going to pull him up. I really didn't want Montreal to mess with the youngsters and Laval, just because I think Montreal needs to fix their mess, and I don't want to see them ruin kids by taking them up into this mess. Because even though that was looked good last night, that was only because we're playing a team that's in worse shape than us. That's what you got to remember. Congrats to Laine, love that. Again, and good to see Slav starting to come on. He's still got a ways to go. Kid yourself not. And we got some scares there with Doc last night. Some hits there that it looked like and he stepped out of the game. Thank God he came back. And even Jack, I took a hit and was grabbing his shoulder. So we don't need those two guys to go down. That was concerning. But Jack Guy, tough as nails, he stayed in the game, didn't leave at any time. But Doc did come back after it looked like he hurt his arm area with a shot hit he didn't see. But that line, oddly enough, as much as I'm not impressed with, Newhook did play a better game for him for Newhook. Um, and it showed a little more physicality than he's shown, and that was positive. And it seems to work by adding speed to the second line, which it should work that way because two big guys that can do the muscle work and some speed. It's a better combination. And same thing with the first line. Whereas you got the speed and talent, you really need some size and adding Slav, and that's why I think you'll see those three guys uh, come together much better. And they just fit better than what we have in the system right now. So go Habs go. I was extremely pumped. Congratulations on the victory because we better celebrate these victories because they're going to be far and few between. We need to add a goaltender, and I still think there was rumor there that it could be Dobish being sent up. I'd be a little nervous of that, but he did outplay Monty and Primo in preseason, so he could take over the starting role and kind of shock people. Shouldn't shock people because he was better than them, and it wasn't even close. It was hands down. But I'm just fearful that the shape we're in would hurt his development. But I'd like to see them go out there, at least make a tweak, get a veteran goaltender, get somebody like a Chris Kreider, but not for you don't want to sell the farm for him, right? He's far enough in his years that yeah, you don't want to give up the kitchen sink and the farm to get him. He's the perfect type of answer for leadership, though. That type of player wouldn't that be something if we could get him for a reasonable cost? Because New York's got such a mess. I mean, we are even hearing Zabinajad's name. And unfortunately, I don't think Zabinajad's the answer for Montreal, to be honest. We need some grit. And Zabinajad, he's a great scoring touch, but physicality, not enough in his game. He's not the type of player Montreal needs. I think we need an Olivier Day. What's his name? Desjardins, I think it is, and or even a Kreider. Those type of players is what we should. But we got to be careful. It's got to be for the right costs, and we should be willing. We're going to have to start thinking. I think you're going to see some moves because remember Montreal pulled off some trades before the trade deadline. So don't be surprised from here till I would say the end of January, you might see us make a move or two. And I honestly think right now the gates should be open for Savard, Armia. I think Armia is going to draw serious attention because that guy protects. And so is Savard. Savard's going to be a perfect third pairing, what veteran for a team that wants to go into playoffs. And I think Armia can fit that bill for a fourth liner on a team that's in the playoffs because he his penalty killing and his protecting the puck is extremely good. Um, so I think those two could be the highest on the totem pole. I just Evans could surpass them. I just think Montreal would be making a mistake to let Evans go. So I'm hoping he's the one guy that's pulled out of that group and signed. And then you got Dvorak, and that will be happening. And he's playing well actually. So remember that. This guy's that line's playing well. Dvorak, Anderson, and Gallagher. That line and Galley. I hope he doesn't get it in his head just because now he hasn't been producing lately. He's playing fine. He doesn't need to do anything fancy. That's the way goals come sometimes, and he's not a problem. So keep that in mind because that line has been very effective. The line 4 and 3 have been very, very effective. It's been our problems have actually been in the first two lines, is where our trouble is. If we could just stabilize them, because the energy that fourth line brings to the game is amazing. How much they hem the opponents in their end. Just love Emil Heinemann's game. This guy is, and again, I think this is, if you're ever looking to put someone on the second line, I think he's the perfect answer. That somebody who really can crash and bang and is dangerous and has got enough IQ and could play with Laine and Doc for the time being. But we're seeing small steps by Doc and Slav. We just need to see more. But it's at least the right direction. So let's hope for the best and cross your fingers, knock on wood, pray to God that we come out doing well in that back to back against Detroit, because that's going to be a true test. Because I'll tell you now, we got to take advantage of that back to back and Columbus next week. After that we got 3 games at the end of the month. We are not going to be successful in those 3 games. We got Tampa. I forget who the other team is, but I know we got the Knights, and there's somebody else. I think it's Florida. But I'm pretty sure it's Florida. So those 3 teams, I expect disasters in those games. So we better take advantage of the next 3 games. So way to go, Habs. Congratulations, Lonnie. Congrats to Slav for getting a goal and coming, starting to move in the right direction. You just got to keep it going. Keep the legs moving. That's Slav and Doc. Keep the legs moving and use Physicality, you're big boys. All right. And we need to get some grit. That's the next thing. We need grit and experience. That's definite. So it would be nice to add some toughness to this lineup. That should be the other thing. And then, of course, we need a right-handed defenseman. Everybody knows that, and it should be a middle pairing defenseman for the time being. So those Montreal's got their work cut out for them. We need three additions to this team and a few subtractions. But I would protect the youngsters in Laval not to come to this team until that's worked out. Anyway, great show last night. They were definitely what the doctor ordered. But again, Habs fans, keep level. Remember, we were playing one of the worst teams that's in a bigger trouble than we are. All right. Thank you for watching. You've seen it here at Center Heights Production where the puck drops first. And we thank you. Please subscribe, hit the likes, and share. God bless. We'll catch you in the review of the Habs and the Wings. Let's hope we have a positive there. God bless.